Hey, what is up YouTube? Kolst here. So today the Hearthstone Unite and Stormwind Mini-Set was announced. It's called Deadmines. This will be coming out on November 2nd, which I believe is next Tuesday. It'll be purchasable for either $14.99 or 2,000 gold. So as part of this, they have announced all of the common cards of this expansion, and that's what I'm going to be reviewing here. With these patch notes, which I'll link below, they do have a bunch of updates for like mercenaries and battlegrounds and duels, but I'm not going to talk about that now. We're going to be focusing on the cards as far as how good they're going to be in Arena. So as always, if you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Subscribe if you want to see more, but let's get right into it. So I'm just going to go right down the list. As I mentioned, there are 16 cards, which are commons, which are all, commons are the most impactful cards in Arena just because they tend to show up the most. So I'm going to go right down the list class by class. So first we'll start with Demon Hunter. There are two Demon Hunter cards. The first one is Crow's Nest Lookout. This is a 3-mana 2/2 battle cry, deal 2 damage to the left and rightmost enemy minions. I'm assuming that this works in the same way as Kurtrus Ashfallen, so it would be able to hit the same minion twice if there was only one minion on the enemy board, in which case this is a 3-mana 2/2 deal 4, but you might be able to deal, sometimes you're gonna wish you could deal 4 to one enemy, but a lot of the times it might be good. They have the ability to deal 2 to different enemies. So overall, I think this is probably going to be slightly better. But it's safe to say overall, this just does a lot for a 3-mana card. So this is going to be a very strong card. And you're going to be picking this a lot. And you're going to be seeing it a lot because it's a common. Next up, we have a card which I've already seen constructed players starting to complain about. It is Need for Greed. So this is a 5-mana tradable spell, again in Demon Hunter. Draw 3 cards. If drawn this turn, this costs, instead of 5, then it costs 3. So overall, like 5 mana draw 3 really isn't, it's a thing you don't mind having, and the fact that it has tradable already makes it, it can't be too bad, right, innately, but then also the fact that it can be 3 mana draw 3. 3 mana draw 3 is absolutely nuts. So I'd imagine what you're going to do is if you draw it right when you want to play it, you'll play it, but otherwise you'll often just trade it and hope you draw it when you actually want it. Overall, again, like anything that has tradable can't be that bad, and this is definitely something that, it's just a lot of value. Demon Hunter is one of those classes where they tend to have some of these super powerful cards, so card draw tends to be very good, and this is potentially the best card draw option that they're going to have now. So this is definitely, probably not like a super premium card, but probably pretty good. I think you're going to be seeing a fair amount of this again. Right, next we're going to be moving on to Druid. So there's just one card in Druid announced so far, and is Druid of the Reef. This is a 1-mana 1/1 with the choose 1 text, so it can transform into a 3/1 shark with rush, or a 1/3 turtle with taunt. So both of these cards, a 1-mana 3/1 rush, that's literally a 2-drop, right? There's literally a card which is a 2-mana 3/1 rush, and a 1-mana 1/3 taunt. That's a very, very strong 1-drop. So this is an insanely good 1-drop. Obviously not going to be that, it's not going to be like Arbor Up or something that's going to like blow out games, but it's just a generically overpowered 1-drop. So this is a very good card, and it's going to fit very well into especially aggressive styles of Druid, but even control styles, because 1-mana deal 3 is great too. So it's just a very strong card. Alright, so next we have Hunter. The reason I'm laughing, which I'm going to talk about right now, is there are 2 cards in Hunter that are here. So the first one is Monsterous Parrot. One common trend you'll see here is that all the parrots have an interesting kind of not flavor text in the sense of being flavor, but like flavor text, but they actually have the thing that they repeat the last of something because they're parrots. But that's not why I'm laughing. The reason I'm laughing is because this card is Monsterous Parrot, 4-mana 3/4 battle cry, repeat the last friendly death rattle that triggered. So the reason I was laughing is because I was thinking about things that could death rattle that could synergize with Rat King. But I thought about that and realized 4-mana 3/4 turn itself into dormant. That'd be pretty terrible, actually. It would just be 4 mana, do nothing. Not be particularly good. It wouldn't even come back with rush. But in general though, this is a card where it's a little bit synergy based, so you're not going to pick it automatically in every deck. But I think generally speaking, unfortunately, like things like Tonk are leaving. But yeah, there's enough death rattles in Hunter that you can definitely get pretty consistent value out of this. You're definitely going to want to evaluate based off your deck, but this is going to be a pickable card. You'll see it. Probably not, it's not going to be like auto pick, but you'll see it here and there. And the next one, the second hunter card, which I'm hoping we don't see a lot of, is Defiance Blast Fisher. This is a 5-mana 3/2. Battle cry, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. That sounds pretty terrible, right? But repeat for each of your beasts. So there's really this, even if you have like, I want to say like, if you have 2 beasts, maybe it's okay, but like you honestly don't expect to have that. The one combo that's going to kind of enable this card to even be remotely playable would be if you were to play a Rodent Nest on 4, and then you were to play this on 5. And then you would basically just win the game automatically because you get to deal 12 damage as a battle cry on a 5-drop, which is just absolutely insane. So I don't know. To be honest, like I hope, like hopefully this is just isn't gonna be something that people are gonna pick, because this is honestly toxic as hell. So I just hope I never see it. But you know, you're gonna see people play it and you're gonna lose to it. But yeah, it's a terrible card, but it's gonna be a card that's gonna win games by itself sometimes. So you know, it is what it is, I guess. Alright, so next on the list we have Mage, and Mage has one common card in this mini set, which is Grey Sage Parrot. So Grey Sage Parrot is an 8-mana 6/6 with a battle cry. Repeat the last spell you've cast that costs 5 or more. So I've looked at, we do know the rotation, I haven't mentioned that, but there are going to be 3 cards in the rotation that are going to be particularly good to do this with. There is Meteor. The problem with Meteor is it's probably random target, so it might not work. So I'm actually not going to count that one. There is Flame Strike, Deep Freeze, and Power Creation. There are 2 other ones as well, Greater Arcane Missiles and Glacial Mysteries. Both those are epics that you don't tend to pick that much. So, you know, those are going to be the 3. The first 3 I mentioned are going to be the 3 that you're going to be looking to combo with this. So the thing is an arena is that you just typically, a lot of times you don't get spells, and this is a very specific condition. So I mean, if you happen to have those cards in your deck, obviously this card can be absolutely amazing, but on average it's probably not going to be that good. Which is solely because a lot of times it's just going to be 8-mana 6/6 that isn't going to do anything more. Alright, so moving on to Paladin. So Paladin just has one common card announced here. It is another parrot. It is called Sunwing Squawker. It is a 4-mana 3/4 again. Battle cry, repeat the last spell you've cast on a friendly minion on this. So again, this is going to be a very similar situation to the Mage spell, where it is a potentially very strong card, or the Mage minion I should say, but it's kind of hard to actually trigger, as there simply aren't that many ways to actually play spells on your own minions. You're hoping as Paladin you have some. There are 5 from what I saw from the list. There's Noble Mount, Blessing of Kings, Hand of Adal, Librum of Wisdom, which actually is the 6th one. I wasn't including that one. And then the 2 big ones, which are Spike Ridge Steed and Dino Size. So there is definitely a fair amount of potential, and you can even, you can even do it with Librum of Hope potentially as well. So there is definitely a lot of potential in the set for this card. So it'll probably be pretty good on average, but it's definitely, you know, you're not gonna want to auto pick it because you might just not happen to have these cards. Alright, so next we're going to be moving on to Priest. So Priest has 2 cards announced here. The first one is a 2-drop Defiance Leper, 2-mana 3/2 battle cry. If you're holding a shadow spell, deal 2 damage. So typically these kind of cards, obviously, you know, at worst they're a 2-mana 3/2, which is totally playable in the arena, not something you're super happy about, but you know, good. And if it's a 2-mana 3/2, that's just if you're holding a spell and there's enough shadow spells that there's a fair chance you're going to be able to get this off. And if it's a 2-mana 3/2 deal 2 damage, that's amazing for arena. So this is a very, very, not going to be like the craziest card, but it's a very good, you know, arena card. And then with that, we move on to the second card, which does happen to be a shadow spell, by the way, which is a 3-mana card, Amulet of Undying. It is a tradable spell, resurrect 1 friendly death rattle minion. Upgrades when traded. So I'm assuming that must mean when you trade it, it'll go back in your deck, and then the next time it comes back, it'll be upgrade 2 minions or 3 minions. So this just seems like, honestly, just an insanely powerful card. The fact that it always says tradable means it can't be completely worthless, right? At least you can, you know, get rid of it and get something that does something. But I mean, the upside of this card is just absolutely insane. You could potentially get like a 7 or 8 mana death rattle for 3 mana.
frankly, even if you just get like a Devouring Ectoplasm, like a 3-drop, you know, or a 4-drop or something, it's already pretty darn good. And there's a potential that you can trade it and then, you know, get it later when you've played multiple big minions. So it just seems very powerful. It is a situational card, which will limit it a bit, but I think it just has the upside to make it worth it in this case, especially with the tradable keyword. So I think you're going to be seeing this a lot, and frankly, I think you're going to be seeing a lot of games won with this card. Alright, so next we'll be moving on to Rogue. So Rogue has just one card here, which is Blackwater Cutlass. So Blackwater Cutlass is a 1-mana 2/2 weapon with tradable. After you trade this, reduce the cost of a spell in your hand by 1. So assuming you have this in your hand, assuming you have a spell in your hand, it's basically like you get to trade it for free essentially. But frankly, like a 1-mana 2/2 weapon is very strong in Arena. You're probably not going to want to trade it that much unless you're looking for something very specific. But, you know, generally speaking, it is a bit worse in a Rogue because, you know, you do have the opportunity cost of the hero power, so a 2/2 isn't that good. But, you know, like, we just had a card in Paladin, which is a 1-mana 2/2, which you have to take 5 damage to play it, which is actually an above average Paladin card. So this is the same card, but instead of having a downside, it has significant potential upside. So this is definitely a very strong card. And I think maybe in Constructed, like you might be trying to, you know, cheapen spells to do some kind of unfair combos, but that's not really going to be a thing in Arena. But really, there's just a 1-mana 2/2 weapon, which is just very good. Next, we move on to Shaman. So Shaman has one card again, which is another Parrot, Brilliant Macaw. So this is a 3-mana 3/3, slightly better stat line relatively than the other cards, which is Battlecry. Repeat the last Battlecry you played. So I think this is generally going to be pretty strong. I think I would note is that this still isn't exactly a curve play because you don't expect to have played a powerful Battlecry by turn 3. But generally speaking, you know, compared to the other ones, just having Battlecries, you have Battlecries now. It's just, you know, you tend to have Battlecries. So this will always be pretty good, I think. So I don't think this is going to be like insanely strong. We can talk about it being, yeah, 3-mana Ethera. It's so OP. But yeah, it's usually going to be, I think, pretty decent, but probably not game winning either. It's going to be good though, I think. With that, next we'll move on to Warlock. So Warlock has 2 cards announced here, both of which 1 mana actually. The first one is a minion, Shadowblade Slinger. 1-mana 2/1 Battlecry. If you've taken damage this turn, deal that much to an enemy minion. So this just seems really good. You can play it on turn 1 as a 1-drop, which is a 1-mana 2/1 in Warlock is totally fine. You can also like tap on turn 3 and then just play this as essentially like a 3-mana 2/1, but except it actually replaces itself. That deals 2 damage. So that just seems really good, and you could potentially synergize it with more self-damage and, you know, just get like basically an assassinate off really early if you have the right kind of things to combo with it. So overall, this just seems like an extremely flexible and powerful card. Definitely going to be very well welcomed into Warlock, and I wouldn't underestimate this. This will be I think a very good card. Not like the best card in the class, but you're going to really like to see this. And next we have another card, which is Wicked Shipment. So Wicked Shipment is a 1-mana spell with tradable. Summon 2 1/1 imps. If you trade it, it actually upgrades by 2. So that would mean you summon 4 imps, and if you were to trade again, you would get 6 imps. The thing with this is that, I mean, you could get really lucky and trade it on 1 and then draw it on 2 or something, but like most of the time, like, I mean, if you have this on 1, you're going to want to play this on 1, because just having like, you know, 2 1/1s on turn 1 in Warlock, that's in any class really, but in Warlock especially, that's already amazing. You can be very happy with that. If you trade it, you might just never see it, or at least, like, you know, even if you get 4 or 6 imps, you're just not going to care probably that much by that point in the game. So, you know, overall, like, I don't think this is as good as the last card, but I mean, just the fact that it's a 1-mana, at worst case, it's 1 mana for 2 1/1s, that's already good. So this is definitely a good card as well. But I just wouldn't really expect too much more from it than that. You would probably just trade it if you just don't really want it, and then it's weird because you could always play it when trading in, just because Arena you tend to want a tempo, but if you really think it just doesn't matter, you might trade it. But generally speaking, it's just going to be, you know, 2 1/1s, which is Pretty good. All right, so then moving on to the next class, the last class I believe, which is Warrior. So Warrior has two extremely powerful cards actually here. So the first one is a spell which is 2 mana, Man the Cannons. Deal 3 damage to a minion and 1 damage to all other minions. So, I mean, this is basically a 2 mana swipe, need I say more? But it's worth noting compared to swipe, it does whirlwind your own guys. It's, you know, it's essentially like 2 damage and a whirlwind. So, I mean, that's just like, that's a lot of removal for 2 mana. That's just really, really strong. If you're playing particularly a slow warrior, this is one of the best removals you could possibly ever ask for. Just very, very good. Obviously not quite as good as an aggro unless you really want to whirlwind your own guys for some reason, but you know, just an extremely, extremely strong removal. And with that, let's just move on to the next card, which is Defiance Cannoneer, which is a 3 mana 3/3 pirate. After your hero attacks, deal 2 damage to a random enemy twice. This card, I know I'm talking about Arena, but I mean, this card seems absolutely insane and constructed. But in Arena, the thing is that, so this isn't just like a one-time effect. If it sticks, you get to do it multiple times. Imagine if you just play this on 3, and then on turn 4 you play a weapon and your opponent continues to not be able to kill this. It's just, they get blown completely out of the game. The thing is you only give up 1 stat for this, and it's one of those things where sometimes it's just not going to do anything. But I mean, the sheer upside, the upside of this card is you just blow opponents out of the game very quickly. So it's going to be hard to deny that this card is just going to be extremely strong even on average, just because of the sheer strength of the upside. So this would be a card that, to be honest, I don't know that I want this card in the game. This is a little toxic, I think, but we'll have to see. Hopefully it's not too bad. And so with that, we move on to the last card. There is one neutral common announced as well, which is a 3 mana card, Galaka Glutton. So this card is kind of a joke because it's a pirate getting revenge on Galaka Crawler, which was the beast that eat a pirate, and now, you know, it's become full circle at this point. But yeah, so this is a 3 mana 2/3 with Battle Cry, destroy a beast and gain +1/+1. This card is also just straight up Hemet power creep. So yeah, probably not going to be a super premium card. There are enough beasts in Arena, I feel like, that's probably not going to be that bad. You're only giving up 1/1 in stats, which is pretty bad in Arena nowadays, but like, you know, I mean, the upside is there, so it's gonna be one of those things, right? But yeah, objectively probably not a super powerful card, but it's gonna decide games. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, so that's the whole list of 16 cards. Thanks for laughing, everyone. I do believe that they said that, I don't know if we're getting any announcements before then, but they did say that the full card drop will be on Monday the 1st, so watch out, check out for a video on that. But yeah, I'd be very curious to know what you guys think of these cards, which ones you're looking forward to, not looking forward to, you know, all of that, what else you think they might print, or whatever else you want to comment on, because all comments help the algorithm. Of course, like it if you like it, dislike the video, and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. But yeah, thanks a lot again. We'll see you guys next time.